I have houses, Airbnbs, a hotel in Dubai, multifamily in Dallas, etc. I need somebody to help me find end buyer. I said, I know a lot of people. I really do. And he's like, oh, well, send them to me. I've had this happen before where I've given people stuff, they've made a deal and I got nothing. But I don't want to connect them yet until I have something written.
What I think one of my success criteria for this session is to show you what's possible, number one. And number two, empower you guys to go verbally negotiate stuff and turn back to somebody if you need a consult, right? If you can figure it out yourself, great. You can be as creative as you want, put line by line exactly what you're trying to accomplish. Welcome. We're going to cover JV agreements and connector agreements and the like. They may be interchangeable. We may be able to come up with some idea of a different one. I do early on, I want to introduce the fact that it is nice to be able to introduce people and to like own the relationships and keep people private. But I've looked and I don't see a really good way without being onerous with the paperwork for you to connect people and them not go around you in the future. So you need to make sure you get paid well for connecting people, unless you're just gonna. And I've seen a guy on social media he's like, listen, my career is to be a connector. So I love meeting people, but if I'm gonna plug you and you together, before you do that, before you two talk to each other, I'm gonna have an agreement with you that says if and when I introduce you to someone as a business relationship, I get a 10% cut or a 5% cut or whatever of all your deals, and it steps down over time or as the dollar amount increases, and that's permanent. And they would have to honor it, right? So if they sneak around and you don't find out about it, then fine. But there's a guy that's his whole life is like, I know people and I know what people need and I remember it. That's my specialty. That's my superpower. So I connect people. So connectors, JV partners, referral partners, bird dog, whatever. That's the concept that we're after here. And a little bit about me to intro while we're still waiting on some more people to come in. We're only 5 minutes in. I run Creative TC. That's creativetc.io. I started it literally a year ago today. It's my 1-year anniversary for the company. Another gift they got me was my favorite cookie, my team, the EL Fudge double stuff. Oh yeah, baby. Give me 2 of those and a glass of milk and I'm set. So, among other things, it's been great. But what we do is we consult. Creative TC stands for Creative Transaction Consultants. And so we focused particularly on creative finance real estate. We're still strictly creative finance, but we're also getting into consulting on private lending, these JV agreements, those sorts of things. So we are helping people write agreements. We'll JV into deals ourselves. Besides, I was busy with learning real estate stuff. As of today, I'm not working deals directly on real estate. I'll help my team. I'll quarterback deals. So I've got a team of people who's working these transactions, sub-2, seller finance, novations, hybrids, wraps, contracts for deed, some custom stuff. We're doing self-performed closings when it's like an FHA loan and you can't get title insurance. I'll say the fastest transaction I've ever closed was 16 hours, 10 p.m. start to whatever that is, 10 p.m. plus 16 hours was when it closed in Texas. And that was a self-performed closing. It only worked that fast because they already had a title search. But I got copies of people's IDs. I sent them out to notaries. I wrote all the paperwork and bam, we had a transaction that fast. So I say all that to say I and my team are experts. If you have an expert need or an emergency concern, we have consults. We have Josh Deere, you've seen in the sub-2 group or the Gator group. He's my main guy for the lending stuff that we do. So tag him, tag me in the group. We're happy to answer questions. One thing, I don't like DMs too much because I can't give an answer that benefits everybody. So tag me because I want to interact and I want to share my knowledge. I have a ton to share and I love doing that. And that's why I'm doing this is I want to introduce myself. I want to share knowledge with you guys and help you learn and be able to help each other in the group. So that's me. That's what I do. Now, we're going to talk about JV agreements or particularly referral agreements. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's take a look at this. So if you go to creativetc.io, zooming in a little bit, one of the things you're going to find is resources and contract templates. I have approval for these documents to be public. Some of them I wrote, some of them Pace had his attorneys write, some of them are amalgamated from other places. But creativetc.io under resources, we have contract templates. JV agreement. We've got the real estate transaction and the simple flat referral or bird dog. That's the one I'm going to focus on right here. Okay, back to our contract templates on the JV thing. So again, creativetc.io, help me out in the chat for the new people. I'm going to paste it one more time here. creativetc.io, resources, templates, and you're in, and we're going to, and Bob's your uncle, and we're going to go for JV agreement, simple flat referral bird dog. Okay, when I click that, that's going to take me to a Google Doc. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Google Docs, they are basically the best, and they're my favorite. So with that in mind, I'm going to zoom this in so you guys can all see it on the screen. I have edit access. You do not. You won't. I will not give you edit access. So if you go and do this, like anybody can access this link. So I'm going to do a new incognito window just to show like this is what it looks like to somebody who doesn't have edit access. Do not request edit access. I will not give it to you. I get a dozen of these emails a day in my inbox. So-and-so would like to edit. Nope, you can't do that. File, download, Word. Just do that. Download a Word version and then go make your edits. So I'm going to do it just like anybody else would have to. JV referral agreement. We went to creativetc.io, went to resources, contract templates, and then we got to the JV simple. And here we are. So I'm going to file, download as Word, not PDF. I don't like editing PDFs. I like Google Docs. So if I could make a copy there, that'd be great. Otherwise, just download as a Word doc. So JV agreement. Let me zoom this sucker in. Now, if I'm just going to do a referral and plug some people in, guess what the first thing I'm going to do? This is just the framework. This is the skeleton, which you got to put your own skin on it. Okay. We're going to go from JV to referral agreement. That's my first change. It just has to make sense. Okay. And generally with contract law, FYI, with contract law, you can compose your own documents and bring them to a transaction. For those of you who are wanting to be transaction coordinators, et cetera, technically you're getting into attorney territory if you try to go do documents on somebody else's behalf. So if you're doing a transaction with somebody else, you can bring your own docs and you're fine. You're generally fine. You don't have to have an attorney. I make no warranty. This is a best effort. Here's a template. Go customize it and use it. Don't blame me. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving advice. This is my opinions. This is just what I do. I consult on this sort of stuff. So if I knew the address of the property, that would work great. Give me some context.
Okay. I ran across a real estate agent because I'm looking for a house for myself. And he goes, well, you know what? I'm trying to liquidate right now. And I have so much off market stuff under contract. I have houses, but I have Airbnbs. I have a hotel in Dubai and I have multifamily residences in Dallas, et cetera. And he said, I need somebody to help me find end buyer. And I said, well, I know a lot of people. I really do. I connect. I just love to talk to people. And right off the bat, I thought, and he's like, oh, well, send them to me. And I'm like, well, why don't like you scratch my back and I scratch your back? Because I've had this happen before where I've given people stuff, they've made a deal and I got nothing. But I'm not going to do that. These are huge multi-million-dollar deals we're talking about. Right. So he was like, well, let me come up with a contract, but I don't know what it should look like. I don't know, if I'm connecting him with this guy, I should be getting something because I already found 2 people who are interested in his liquidation homes, but I don't want to connect them yet until I have something written.
Yeah. Okay. So in that case, I might have 2 sides. And I'm going to mute you you just unmute the chat. Okay. So I'm going to, if it's a multi-set like that, now if it's a single deal where I stand to gain 2 or 3 grand for being a referral or whatever like that, I'm going to do this little referral agreement, put one address on it, probably have whoever has the deal, I'm going to put it with them. So if I know the broker or the person who has that deal, I'm going to sign a referral agreement that says, if Caleb Christopher introduces the buyer for property 123 Main Street, then Caleb Christopher will receive a referral fee of X dollars or X% of the purchase price or whatever that term is. Just plain and simple, very simple agreement. The person with the deal has it. You have a copy. It's signed. you generally also have to rely on them and the person you refer to them to tell you that that they have a deal, that they're doing the deal. So, you can still get cut out. People can still go around you and cheat you. But hopefully you're introducing people and you can check in on the deal and say, hey, how's that going? Because you could introduce 4 people as potential buyers. And if you and just follow up with them. And you would have that. And ideally, again, in a perfect world, everybody just honors it and turns it into escrow and says, oh, by the way, I have a referral agreement. This person gets $2,000. But if you find out the deal has opened escrow, make sure you contact the escrow and say, hey, I've got a JV agreement, a referral agreement on 123 Main Street. I know that's open with you guys. Here's my referral fee. It's signed by the seller or somebody else involved in the transaction. I just want to make sure I get paid. And that's how I chase that down. Now that's on a 1 property scenario, right? One property, not $1 million at stake or not $50,000 at stake for the referral fee, anything like that. If it was a bigger deal, I would sign an agreement on both sides, 1 for each party. That person who has all the deals, I would sign an agreement saying that if I bring a buyer for any property that they have, either that they own or they have under contract or that is managed by them or whatever, find out some criteria that defines the list of properties to which you have to scope it to either a list of properties or some dynamic list. A dynamic list would be something like any deal that he is the broker for or that she owns, has under contract, anything that she brings to me and I bring a buyer, I'm going to get a minimum of $2,000 or a minimum of 2% of purchase price, and then you can do custom per deal.
Okay, he emailed me 15 jobs, 15 properties that are between, some of them are $5 million to $10 million. They go as low as 200,000 all the way up to $5 to $10 million. And I know people that go that large, investors. So I didn't want to I don't want to connect them. He's like, connect me. I'm supposed to meet with him Saturday, but I want to have something in hand to say, okay, but here's what I need you to sign.
Okay, makes sense. So what I would do in that case, I'm going to share my screen here, is if it's 10 properties, I'm going to say 123 Main Street. I might just go to a bulleted list. So formatting be darned, we're going to figure this out and we're going to make it work for us. This is a really generic little document. It's just a framework for you to use. So don't be scared to change it and make it work. This is one of the most basic agreements that we have in the arsenal. Okay. So addresses, you see it's already made for multiple addresses, 123 Main Street, 234 Main Street. It's doing this because the formatting is justified. You can just move it to left hand, whatever. Okay, so then we're going to go, I'm just going to put in a whole list. This is just, imagine that's all my properties. Legal descriptions, that's a great idea if you can get them. If you can't get them, we will survive. Nobody's going to die. It's preferable to have a legal description if you can. And then we get to the terms. Okay, so here's the scope. In a reference to a transaction or maybe any transaction regarding the following properties, and you have a list of addresses. Hi, kitty cat. With the legal descriptions, that'd be great. Now, if I was doing this, I might actually go 123 Main Street with legal description of block 1774, blah, 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 whatever that is, right? I might put the legals right with them. Would asking for equity, Jessica says, would asking for equity on any of these properties be overkill or reasonable? It depends on the deal and the way you're structuring that deal. On a case-by-case basis, I would say yes, generally, but that's on the buyer side, not the seller side, really. The seller side, you're going to try to get a referral fee. There's nothing that says you can't play both sides of the transaction either, although I will encourage you to be honorable in how you do it, right? Hey, I charge a $2,000 fee on the seller side, and I charge a value-based charge on the buyer side. So let's assume we have a list of properties with their legal descriptions. And here I go again. I'm going to strip this out because it doesn't fit the way I want this to read. Then I'm going to have the legal description here. Okay, that's how I'm going to do that. That's just how just imagine that's all legal descriptions. Now, party A, I'm going to use this with my name. Here's my rule of thumb when I'm editing documents, and I edit a ton of documents. And so I know the pitfalls of not doing things like this. I'm going to make sure this gets underlined. And then I'm going to type Caleb Christopher or my LLC, it doesn't matter. Party A agrees to pay an assignment fee of, you can say assignment fee or referral fee, whichever, the verbiage will still be the same, of, come on, little buddy, $2,000 to, oh, sorry, party A is going to be the one that pays the fee. That's going to be my seller. Seller Smith to Caleb Christopher. And look at that. I didn't underline that. I want to make sure it's underlined. The reason I do underlines is because if I have to make any adjustments, it's really easy to see what was a variable. Right. So if I want to know how much that fee was, or if I need to make an adjustment, I can go to a document and see where are the things that you would change. Oh, here's one. Is $2,000 the right thing? If you throw me a document and it doesn't have anything underlined, now I have to read the entire thing to find out what the key points are. So seller Smith, party A, agrees to pay an assignment fee of $2,000 to Caleb Christopher, party B, upon close of escrow, or as specified below. Additional terms and conditions. And here come my bullet points. Oh, not that one. Let's get a new line here. Bullet point. What kind of terms and conditions would you like to see? Yeah, instead of $2,000, we could say $2,000 or 2% of the purchase sale price of the property, whichever is greater. The problem with creative is that there's no limit, like except for like federal laws. You can be as creative as you want. I'm going to stop to share for a second. It's like a box of crayons. People ask me stuff about creative finance all the time. Oh, here, my shirt's perfect, all the colors. It's like, as a creative finance person, you remember kindergarten when, I don't know how many of you had like the 64 pack of crayons, but that was pretty special. Who had the 64 pack? Or maybe the 128 even, goodness. All those other idiots with their 16 and 32 packs, bunch of losers. I was stuck with the 32 pack for a long time. And then I finally got the 64 pack, and kids would crowd around my desk and look at all the colors. And, oh, can I borrow this one? Can I borrow that one? So many, so pretty, all the stuff. Has the sharpener built in, loved it. Creative Finance is my 64 pack, nay, 128. So I have all the tools. I can do all the things. I can draw any picture of any color. So if you ask me, what all can you do? It's like, you have to tell me what you want. Otherwise, we're going to wind up with this. It's a mess. If you want me to draw you a picture, then tell me what you want it to be, and I'll go build that. I'll put it on the wall, and I'll show you. I'll get the right colors. I'll bring a little bit of creative finance, a little bit of percentage of down payment, a little bit of referral fees and JVs, and all this other parts and pieces, sub to seller finance, and we'll put it all together and make the perfect picture. But you have to tell me what picture you want me to draw. If you're asking me what's possible, if you want me to just pitch everything, then you're going to wind up with a wall of just random colors. I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that. And it actually overloads and confuses people. Denise. Yes.
Should it be standard across the board? So for example, I may say 2% on a $200,000 house, but when we're talking about we were discussing about the larger properties, the 5 million and the 10 million, can I say, on this dollar amount to this dollar amount, I'm going to charge a 5% or a 10% fee?
Yes.
So when you're listing those properties, right? If I have 50, I think he sent me 15 now, I've got 15 in my email. When I'm listing and I'm putting the description underneath each one, when I say, well, on this one, if I send you a deal, it will be this amount. And they can be different for each one, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's take that to the next stage. This is where people hire my company. Is if it's not very straightforward, you want somebody to ask. I think my superpower is asking good questions. Okay, so I'm going to ask questions. You're going to tell me your story and what's going on. I'm going to catch the feel for that. And what I would do in that case is say, I'm going to take this and put it at the top. In reference to this following property seller or broker or whoever, party A agrees to pay an assignment fee of $2,000 or this, or actually, maybe I'll just change this to a fee as specified below each property to Caleb Christopher. And so properties. 123 Main Street, legal description, referral fee. Okay, I'm going to go like this. And it may get to the point where you should just attach a spreadsheet. Do we call it a referral fee? Assignment fee. I'm going to change. I'm going to try to use consistent language here. Assignment fee. And that's maybe where I go 2,000 or 2% of purchase, whichever is higher. Okay. And then I'm going to do basically the same thing on every property. Legal description, block 75. I don't care. I don't want to spend time waste time on fake legal descriptions. Assignment fee on this one, maybe you may not go 2,000. You may say 4% of purchase price, period. Okay, so you can get as custom as you want if that really was the question. Did that help? Did that answer what you're looking for?
Exactly. Yes. Because we discussed going all the way up to 10% on the larger ones, like the one that was 40 million. I said, well, then I would go 10%. Perfect.
So is that 10% of the purchase price?
Purchase price.
Okay. So it's going to be 10% of the purchase price or sale price. And you may, when you're dealing with a lender or somebody who's got funds instead of a buyer, if you refer a buyer, maybe you get a percentage of the purchase price. If you refer a lender, maybe you get a cut of what they lent, a flat fee or X percent of their lending amount. A typical, like a loan broker, don't act like a broker if you're not one. Like you might get in legal trouble, but you may say, hey, pretty standard. If I'm going to connect you, I want to see 1% or 1 point or 1.5 points of the loan. Although if you're doing a $5,000 loan, I don't want $50. That's not enough for me. I'm not willing to connect somebody who's not going to give me at least $500. Not worth my time. I'm building relationships, connections. So in this case, we're talking about a referral agreement for a buyer for a property or properties. Do we have enough information here to set you in motion to go at least verbally negotiate stuff? What I think one of my success criteria for this session is to show you what's possible, number one, and number two, empower you guys to go verbally negotiate stuff and turn back to somebody if you need a consult, right? If you can figure it out yourself, great. You can be as creative as you want, put line by line exactly what you're trying to accomplish, make it bullet point format, easy enough to go through. This is a super simple agreement. So if you're looking for something real complex, this was not the one. We have a more complex one that gets into expenses and like that's actually your JVing together. This one is more written as a referral agreement. If I connect you, I get paid. If this happens, you have to set a criteria. If this happens, if someone, Caleb Christopher refers to John Seller, closes on a property, then Caleb Christopher gets paid by John Seller. But go out and create chaos, as Pace says. Go find things to negotiate. And if you need help, call us. So Deneen, have we covered the multi-property, the flexibility you can put into a list?
Yes, I appreciate it. And then one other thing is if I'm buying a house for myself and the person I'm talking to, because I want to owner finance, he's like, I'll find the house, buy it for you, and I will owner finance it to you. I'm finding the home, I'm the referral, and then they're buying it, and then I'm buying it from them on owner finance. So I didn't know if there was a way to put a contract together that says, well, I'm the one doing the footwork on this. You're going to make money because you're owner financing it back to me, but I'm doing the footwork. So let's come to an agreement where I get this percent off or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. So I would say in that case, you can do the same agreement. If I bring the buyer, I get $5,000. If you are the buyer, then technically they owe you $5,000 at close. So you can either treat it as saving. You can then negotiate with them. Do you want me to pay this to you and then you pay it back to me as a referral? Do we count it as a credit toward the purchase price? How do we treat it? But I wouldn't change the paperwork. Anything else, Deneen, on that?
No, thank
Okay.
you. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Griselda.
Yeah,
What's up?
Okay, I have a question on, I guess paperwork, but also your experience on this. So let's say that you do connect, a seller to a buyer, and you write up that joint venture or that referral agreement on those properties. What if they later on they have other properties and they go directly to the buyer? Is it a way to protect yourself from them cutting you out, or is that just kind of how it goes and you just get cut out?
That's basically how it goes. You and I, at the very beginning, I don't know if you're here, at the very beginning, I talked about a guy I know, I have not know personally, but I've seen on personal media, social media, who actually sets up intentionally, and people know this when they get into a relationship with him. He's like, you're going to agree that if I connect you, I own the connection for life. I'll connect people, but all the business you ever do has to be either 10%, or if you want something different, I'm not going to be unfair. Renegotiate. If you're about to do a $10 million deal and I'm at 10%, do I expect you to give me $1 million? Not if it's going to kill that deal. I want people to be able to do deals. So renegotiate with me. But that's like an advanced contract. And that guy makes it very clear up front. I am a connector. That is my career. I want to make friends with people, but my superpower is remembering who needs what sort of deal, where they need it, what they've got available, and all these other parts and pieces. So when I connect people, it's very intentional. I'm not slinging potential contacts at you. I'm vetting something and putting the person you need in front of you. And so he signs an agreement with every person, because that's literally his career. Otherwise, no, that's just the way things go. And I had a personal conversation with Pace on the phone. I said, I've got this question from some people, and I know you've connected, and I think we all know the situation where he connected a Gator lender or somebody in and got like $1 million and some equity on something like that. He's not being protectionist about that. It's really hard to keep people from, you're not going to keep the parties from knowing who each other are without looking real shady and weird. You're getting all secretive, and they need to qualify their buyer or borrower or whatever, unless you're the one that's bringing the capital and you're putting your own personal guarantee and then you're sourcing the funds from somebody else. Unless you're shelling for other funders and then arbitraging, if you can acquire funds at 8% interest and then arbitrage that at 12, 15, or for a large chunk, then you can borrow from here and then be a qualified lender without introducing the two parties. But you're brokering that transaction, or you're borrowing and then arbitraging the interest rate and marking it up. But you're probably going to have a personal guarantee in both directions.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
But most of the time, they're going to find out who's who. And one of the cardinal sins is to wire funds directly to somebody. So how are you going to get funds from your 3 or 4 people into a deal where they don't see who it came from? It starts to break down pretty quick. So Pace's philosophy is, look, I'm a giver, I'm a connector, I'm going to put people together. If they want to refer me in the future or bring me in, but I expect them to go do business. I'd rather just do more deals than try to control and hold tightly one relationship.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I just wasn't sure if other people were doing something different.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Thank you. Good question. Lisa?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So to your answer to Griselda, and I probably know just enough to hurt me, but wouldn't that not fall up under an exclusive agreement, which real estate agents, real estate brokers in leasing deals and things like that typically will have those? Is that not something that we utilize or could be utilized?
You can go to an attorney and ask for a custom agreement like that. Those also usually time out at some point.
I'm sorry, say that last sentence.
Those usually also time out after a certain time frame.
No, you're not wrong.
There's a reasonable limit at some point where,
Right.
yes, you've connected people, but you can't own that relationship forever. And so what is reasonable for that exclusivity, right? If it's a very specialty field, if there's a low chance that those two people would ever find each other except for you being in the middle, then the exclusivity period goes up. Again, I'm not an attorney. this is the concept to remember as you go through this stuff. But if you're in the same Facebook groups as these other people, I really don't think your exclusivity can exceed 6 to 12 months.
You're probably
They-
not wrong on that. I just know that in retail real estate transactions, and I'll just disclose, I have a real estate license and I work with a broker, but for her leasing deals, which I get, we're talking something really completely different. When she takes on a property or an owner, she signs up an exclusive agreement, and it's usually for a period of 5 years unless she fails to perform according to their agreement. But I'm thinking in terms of Deneen's not predicament, but opportunity. She said that this person has potentially a lot of properties, and if she connects them and that buyer and that seller are going back and forth, she should have the right. And I would think that an exclusive agreement would have to be implemented for her to obtain an assignment fee on each one of those properties. So does your agreement, that putting that on your agreement would cover that or cover her on that?
This doesn't have, so somebody would have to challenge, when does this expire? Because that's not a form, that's not a thing that we addressed as we talked through that form. And I came up with like a bullet list of property 1, property 2, property 3 with these terms. We didn't set an expiration date. You could, and that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, it doesn't sound like I'm answering what you're trying to say. So go ahead and clarify.
No, if Deneen lists all those properties, whether that person and whether he's able to offload those properties to that one seller, whether it's 1 year or 10 years, if his, I mean, I can't imagine unless he's dealing with somebody that's got millions of dollars based on what she's telling us, that somebody's going to be able to come in and swoop up all of his properties at once. They're probably going to transact over a period of time.
It's probably going to be different buyers. It's got different types of properties. It's going to be different buyers. So it's not like there's one relationship that's being set up for all those deals. I mean, if there was, great. But the way we scoped it, again, this is my opinion and not an attorney. The way we scoped it was a list of properties. So
Right.
it's limited to that. It's not limited to the two people. It's not limited to the parties. It's limited to the properties.
Right. I think we're saying the same thing. I'm probably just not articulate, because I understand what you're saying and I'm in agreement with what you're saying. So I'm probably just not articulating it correctly.
Okay. Anybody else who can assist on that or clarify or rephrase something, you're welcome to speak up. And yes, I'll try to get this in the Gator Vault. I don't know if I have permission to do that, but I teach on Saturdays in the Sub 2 community. So my TC trainings are on every Saturday, and they're in the Zoom Vault for the Sub 2 students. But I'd be happy for this one to be in the Gator Vault. So Jacob says, would we use a JV agreement or this particular document we're talking about? This one is just a referral agreement, and it's so basic. The thing with it that I like about this agreement is that it's so basic you can do anything you want. Also, the problem for a lot of people is it's a blank canvas. And where do I start? What do I do with it? Right? That's the problem for a lot of people. So again, what I want you to do is focus on what outcomes you want. I think that's been a really big theme for me over the last year as I started Creative TC, and we work on all sorts of transactions, lending, real estate, custom stuff. Okay. The big takeaway that I want most people to have is you have to be outcomes oriented. What are the things I want to accomplish? And if I can work backwards from there, how do I achieve that? Well, I need an exclusivity agreement. I need a referral agreement. I need a list of properties. I need to scope the list. I need to scope where our agreement applies. And from there, I can go back to what things must be in place, what cannot happen, what must happen, and build a list from that. And if you need help with that, again, shameless plug, my team does this all day, every day. Our job is to ask questions and help you challenge your assumptions. So if you think you have a deal, if you think you have something and you want to just have a chat with us, we have little paid consults for that. A gut check is worth a good amount. That can, I've saved people thousands or help people not do deals that would have been trash or help people. Somebody told me that they made an extra $100,000 based on something I told them. I told them to go do. I think it was an insurance claim or like a roofing claim on a multiplex. I said, hey, go talk to a public adjuster before you buy those properties and see if you can put in an insurance claim before you buy it. You pay the premium or the down payment or whatever that is on the seller's insurance to get a new roof before you buy the property. And they're like, they went and did it, and they're like, dude, that made me an extra $100,000 on the property on the valuation. Cool. How do you contact me? CreativeTC.io is my website. And you can reach my team the fastest because I may not respond. I may be in meetings all day. Is support@creativetc.io. So let's also
Real
look at
quick,
some
how
other.
much time? I'm sorry. How much time if I were to contact, like meeting with him Saturday to kind of go through everything? Like I want to know what he's looking for and this, whatever. If I reach out to your team and I have all my information, how long does it take them to put together some documents for me about?
We can usually turn if you already have very clear expectations of what it is you're looking for assistance with and what those outcomes are. We can usually work up to those outcomes in 1 to 2 business days. Most times there's some revisions though, right? You tell us what you want, we build it, and then we start asking questions. And you're like, oh, you know what? Let me go talk to him, and I'll get back to you with. That's a good question. And so we wait, and you go find your thing out, and you come back, and then we build it, and we'll throw it in DocuSign for you, and you're off to the races. So that, and I usually also have a correction and compliance agreement that allows us to correct anything that was typoed or misstated or something even into the future. One other thing, Gators on my website, again, creativetc.io, under resources, under contract templates, we also have exclusive option to purchase. We have a more complex JV agreement. I'll touch on that in a second. We also have a purchase contract, no creative financing. So if you're working with wholesalers and you want them to see to use the best contract, have them use this. Go get it. It's free. It's provided by Pace Morby and maintained by me. I'm the librarian of all these docs in the Sub2 library. Although, you know what else I do? Whenever I need a little boost, I talk to Chad. Chad's my nickname for ChatGPT. What are the key elements? Oh, I got to prompt it right. I want you to act as my as my attorney. What are the key elements of an exclusivity agreement where I'm going to give it a little more context. I connect people for business transactions and get paid for any business they do after I connect them. Period. What are the key elements of an exclusivity agreement? Format it as a table for me. With column 1 as section numbers. Column 2 as section headings. And column 3 as a brief summary of what the section discusses. Let's see what it can do. Introduction, exclusivity. So here, this is a 2-stage thing. ChatGPT only can do so much at a time. So you have to give it small chunks or ask it for small chunks back. It's going to cut off at some point. So I can tell it to continue if it looks like it was incomplete. What other sections might I see in a bulletproof exclusivity agreement? Representations and warranties, great. Indemnification, that's great. Maybe you need insurance. Non-competition, that's probably good. Non-circumvent. Lisa, you've never seen ChatGPT? Yeah, it's I mean, you Google it, you find it, you sign up for a free account. They also have a plus version for $20 a month, will give you longer sections. So that's phase one. The second phase is please write a sample of section 2. Write section 2 in full. Okay, section 2 is exclusivity. It sets out the scope and duration of the exclusivity arrangement, including any limitations or exceptions. Here you go, section 2, exclusivity, 2.1. So I can build a document with Chad as my fake attorney. Duration. So you'll get a lot of context. Who needs Caleb? We've got ChatGPT. Okay. Now, you do need someone like Caleb or Josh Deere to assist in, hey, does this actually apply? Or you need to actually hire an attorney. Again, we're just consultants. We give you our opinion, and we know a pretty good amount. We ask really good questions, but there's always a time to turn to an attorney. Duration, exceptions, acknowledgement. Great. Section 3, and this is why you got to take it in small chunks. And so it's a little bit laborious to get to this. Obligations of the exclusive party. Okay, right. Section 3. Ding. Section 3 was not compensation. Obligations. Well, it lost some context. Stop. Try that again. Section 2, are you kidding me? Section 1 was introduction. All right, fine. Perfect. Okay. So that's the idea. I just want to empower you guys to like go help a little bit. You can do this anytime. GPT is generally free. So now you know where to find some basic contracts. Now let's look at the JV agreement real estate. This is a lot longer version, and it's got a lot more to do in it, a lot more to understand. Section 1 defines the parties. I took this from a 3-party to a 4-party because I've seen enough deals where we needed a 4-party. Also, when you're writing an agreement, can I please tell you to always get the mailing address? Don't just do a name. Don't just do a company. You have to get the person's name. Well, you have to get the entity. That can be a company. That's okay. But you need a mailing address. The mailing address is where you're going to send legal notices if you get into trouble. And guess what? I've seen a lot of people getting into trouble with one another. Please get a mailing address so that if you have to serve a court notice, you have a place to put it. That means not your registered agent address that you don't check, or not some dead drop mailbox or somewhere else that's not actually going to show you your mail. You have to be able to receive mail and legal notice at that address. So when you're getting into an arrangement with somebody, get their mailing address. Email's handy. Phone is great, but not required. Mailing address is like essential. Email is great to have. Okay, so get the names, etc. If this is over one property, again, this is geared toward one property. You can add addresses. You can also say see attached. This is the live template, so I'm actually going to undo this right away. But you can say see attached, and then you can go create a Word doc or an Excel spreadsheet and attach it to the back of this document as addendum 1 or attachment A or attachment whatever. Okay. Legal descriptions, same, see attachment. APNs, say see attachment. Title, does this apply? Here's the worst problem I run into with people on these things. They go try to fill out these documents themselves, and then they say that title's going to be held in the name of somebody, and they don't intend to buy it. So it's like, what are you actually trying to accomplish? Let's work backwards from what you're trying to accomplish, because are you actually buying the property, or are you JVing to get it wholesaled to somebody else, or are you JVing to lend on the property? Because if you're not going to hold title to the property, put not applicable. We can go through all sorts of stuff here. Allocation of expenses. Are you going to pay a percentage or a dollar amount or something different? Who's going to pay these things? How does that work? Does anybody get paid prior to allocation of profit? I mean, there's a lot you can dig into here, but this is a more detailed one and additional terms and conditions. This is where we put bullet points, just a list of, actually, I like numbers. That way I can refer to section 1.7.1, 0.2, 0.3 instead of bullet point 3 and 1.7. Are PO boxes acceptable for mailing addresses? Absolutely. If you can receive mail there, I don't care. It just needs to be a legal address, or a real address that they're going to receive mail. Here's a little piece I put in here: single party authorized expenses. Does everybody have to agree to something, or can somebody go off and start incurring expenses like $100 here, $100 there? Does it max out at any time? All things to consider. Now, we can wander quite a bit on this topic of JV agreements and exclusivity, and I see somebody rubbing their eyes. Getting a little late for you, Robin? Does anybody have any questions I can address? I've seen some chat. I've seen that I'm missing some chat. Is there anything important in the chat that I need to hit? Oh, Jen said something about the plastic. I can talk about just about anything. Are there any other questions relevant to JV agreements? Have I answered the questions you had, Deneen, about how to use or get into a JV agreement for referrals and things like that?
Yes, you absolutely have, and I probably will be contacting you as soon as I get the end result of everything, the context on all these properties, and then you can help me put, or your team can help me put something together.
I love it. Thank you. Anybody else? General questions about JV stuff? All right.
Okay,
Our
I'm
main
gonna ask, what's an LOC?
LLC or LOC?
No, LOC.
Line of credit.
Oh, okay, thanks.
What else is there? What are some key acronyms? Line of credit, LOI, letter of intent. We can go. We've got a long list.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll learn you.
Man.
Jen and or Jacob, do you guys feel that, because I'm not following the entire chat, do you want me to bring up the plastic thing? Transferring money appropriately?
Sure, you can most definitely bring that up, because I see several people that do mention that about the plastic. I haven't personally used it myself, but yeah, sure.
What I read on that post was that somebody used plastic.com, which is where you can take a plastic credit card and use it and put it through plastic.com. They will process a transaction, take a slice off the top to keep, and then pass the cash to wherever you want, whether that's a check or a wire or whatever their process is. I haven't used them before. I'm not vouching. I'm just talking about what the process is. So you swipe your card. It's basically a way to extract cash out of a line of credit. If I've got, and I do have, I had a $20,000 line of credit card with 0 interest for 18 months. That's pretty freaking sweet. If I can use plastic.com and pull it out for 3% off the top, 3% of $20,000 is, somebody do the math for me, because I'm going to make an idiot of myself if I do. $600? Is that what we're talking?
I think it's 6,000.
Not 6,000. That'd be 30%. Yeah, 3%.
$600. $600.
Okay. Thank you. So $600 for the cost of $600 upfront, non-refundable. It's gone forever, whether I do something good with the money or not. Now I have $19,400 in hand at 0% interest for 18 months. Can I go do something with that? Had I better be careful with that? Heck yes. Heck yes, you better be careful with that. It's a line of credit. You're going to pay it back, and you're going to pay 18 to 28% interest if you don't have it paid back by the time that interest comes due. Also, it has a minimum payment of whatever percentage of the monthly amount, or the open balance. So I also have to be able to make those $200, $300, $400 payments every month on the open balance. But you can use a tool like plastic.com to extract that cash from a line of credit that is a credit card. People don't think of a credit card as a line of credit in the same sense as when you say line of credit, it means something you can pull cash out of, because you can't normally pull cash out of a credit card. So somebody's using plastic.com. It sounded like, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but they had the funds wired from Plastic directly to a transaction. And the way that it went from some other bank that plastic.com was using. And now the escrow company, that the deal got canceled, the escrow company can only return the funds to that source. They can only they can't take money in from one place and out another, because that would be a great way to launder money. So there's probably some federal regulation about they can't do that sort of stuff. Imagine the scheme you could come up with. If I want to transfer money to somebody else and launder money, or have it like shady transfer between parties without open disclosure, I could open an escrow account, fund it from one account, and then cancel the transaction and tell them to refund it somewhere else. So they generally have a policy. It's also they've probably been sued. Some companies probably been sued at some point for refunding to somewhere other than the exact location that they received it from. So hard and fast policy. We only send money right back where we got it. So now this person's like, now I can't get it refunded. I can't get it back to me. It's not going back to plastic because this intermediary bank is supposed to be the recipient, but they're going to reject it because they don't know what it's for. Do I understand the situation?
Yeah, that's exactly what it said. Apparently, Plastic has a subsidiary of, I think it's called Finexera or something like that. It started with an F, and that's exactly what occurred. And that's exactly right. I mean, who wants to give money back to another business that's not the same business or entity that you receive, the funds in? So that's a great point.
Yeah, I think the main point that we can all agree on is but they didn't know that was going to happen, right? They thought it was going to come from plastic.com. They didn't expect. So what could they have done different? Number one, maybe they had the funds wired to them first. Well, there's another $30 off top. It starts getting expensive as you wire funds all over the place. And you have to do it early enough that it gets to you in time for you to clear and subsequently wire it elsewhere. But if you receive the funds to your bank account first, well, what if a company didn't have a bank account set up yet? Another frustration, right? So you have it wired somewhere that you control, and then have that wired in from there to escrow. And if the transaction cancels or it has to be refunded, at least it can come back to somewhere that you can control. But all them wire fees start adding up pretty quick. So how can they fix it now? I think the only solution is to get in contact with Finexera, whatever that company is, and just not get off the phone until you get to somebody who can actually make something happen. Let me talk to a manager. Let me talk to the next manager. Can we call you back? Nope. I'm going to stay on the line. You got to be committed and ready to stay on the line. I've been through calls like that. And if you hang up, you won't hear back for days. And they don't care. It's not their problem. It's your problem. And if you don't own the problem, they won't either. You just have to expect that with larger companies. They're busy. They've got all sorts of easier problems to solve. You are the hardest thing for them to solve. So if you don't stay on top of it, it ain't going to get fixed. Oh, Jacob has a screenshot of one that he sent, and it also shows his business name with plastic.
Yes, I thought that was a wonderful example that he put that in there. So we can actually take a look and see, because I personally haven't used plastic. So I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, so here we go. Beneficiary from whatever, incoming transfer. Okay, that's good. Plastic. So, I mean, if you had something like that, you might be able to show it and make sense to the title company. So the other thing is to harp on the title company. Look, this came from me. Maybe you can show them the chain of transactions and the screenshots or a live look, but you're going to have to talk to the risk manager, the attorney, the underwriter, whoever's in charge of managing risk for that company in order to do that thing, to get it accomplished. They may be willing to wire it back to a different location under those circumstances. And if you sign a hold harmless, but the problem is that I don't care if I'm the risk manager. I don't care if the recipient signs a hold harmless. I care that the person who sent the funds in is the one that signs a hold harmless, that it's okay to transfer it to somebody else. Because if I transfer it to some recipient that's okay with whatever, and this person's not okay with it, that's where my problem comes from. I like talking through weird, tough stuff. I don't feel like I accomplished much, but it's fun getting in the weeds sometimes. Okay. Well, it's been an hour. I'm not saying I have a time limit. I don't have a bedtime. I normally don't go to bed for a couple more hours. But
Don't just say.
I appreciate all your
I
time.
get to be, I go to bed at 3,
About the same.
3 a.m.
Any other? I'm open for any questions. I do all sorts of stuff, real estate, lending, etc. I'm happy to sling stuff while I'm on here. Otherwise, if you're in the sub-2 community, I'm going to release a TC checklist on Saturday morning. So come to that. Oh, you know what I did the other day? Actually, I do have something I want to share. Random thought. A de-risking spreadsheet. It's mine. I can give it away. It's not protected by an NDA. Although well, okay. So I subjected it to the sub-2 NDA. So sub-2 students have this that attended my Saturday training 2 weeks ago. I can give it to other people like in the Gator group, but I'm going to say it's covered by your NDA. I don't want this getting outside of our groups yet. It's still a draft. But risk. What was that called? Who was on that call? It was a whole list of real estate risks. Risk matrix? Real estate risk matrix. I think that's what it was. Oh, let's see if I found it. You guys have a bunch of money and you want it protected. So let's see if we can find a better way to help your people, the ones that want to borrow, be responsible. How do they prove that they're responsible people? All right, I have this deal. All right, here's a risk. How are you going to handle it? Market downtrend. What's the likelihood of that downtrend? Well, right now, I would say that downtrend likelihood is still high. Uh-oh, that's a problem. Impact. How is a market downtrend going to impact this transaction or your exit strategy or whatever? Well, what is the impact going to be? Likelihood is high. Impact is moderate. That sounds pretty significant to me. Risk action? No, we're not going to accept that. What's the risk action you're going to take? Mitigate. How are you going to mitigate that risk? If there's a market downtrend, if it continues downward, which is a high likelihood, it's going to have a moderate impact on your project. What is that going to look like and how are you going to handle it? I'm going to mitigate it by, I don't know. It depends on what the transaction is. I'm going to only buying properties at 60% of ARV minus repairs. Is that enough to mitigate a continued downturn? If I'm doing a flip, is that enough? And I'm not recommending flips right now, by the way. Is that enough to mitigate this downtrend, the downtrend risk? Maybe it is. But you guys can take something like this risk spreadsheet and take it back to your borrowers and say, hey, how do I know my money's secure? How do I know my money's going to be there at the end of your transaction to even pay me back? This is more like private money lending. It's not actually a Gator transaction. But is this a helpful example? Is this something you guys would like to use? Can we adapt it to Gator stuff? I work on feedback. I don't have a lot of feedback, you guys.
Oh, yes.
Not
I would
speaker
use it.
feedback.
I would definitely use it, Caleb. I mean, I don't know about anybody else. I hope not, nothing against Gators. I'm learning this, obviously, as I keep saying, but eventually I want to get to where you are sub-2s, and whether I use that now or I use it later, I use it. So yes.
I'm going to put the link to this. Here's what I want to do. If you're here, right now, I'm going to put the link in chat. I don't want this link getting out into the rest of the group. Can we agree to that? Can I have like 52 yeses? I'll post the link in here. What I don't want is this to get out beyond this group right now. That's not, it's nothing special. It's that this is not ready for mainline production. Okay, I want feedback. I want people coming back to me and saying, hey, oh, I had an idea. Here's how to use this. And so when I reintroduce this sometime in the future, I want to be able to have something that's a little more robust and usable as a guide. All right, here's the link to that. It is shared. It is a public link. So if you reshare it, it will get out. Please be honorable and don't go slinging my link. And what I would like to ask in return, maybe take a screenshot, not including the link. Take a screenshot of this thing here. That's why I go full screen, by the way, because it hides the link. If it's a public link and you get a screenshot of the link, you can manually type it out. Get a screenshot of this and say, hey, let's work on this together. Or how can we adapt this thing to Gator transactions as opposed to regular real estate transactions? And that's the feedback that I want from you guys is what questions do you come up with for this sucker? Somebody give me an example of what you would like to see. Maybe Josh, if you're open to ask some questions. What kind of questions do we like to ask in Gator transactions to make sure that they're like safe?
Oh goodness, lots, but that's a squirrel hole that'll take us for another hour, Caleb. Oh goodness. Well, you always want to see people's LLC
There you go.
documentation. That's a great place to start.
Yeah. Is it a mutual release state too? Somebody said.
Oh yeah, mutual release, because that's been a hot topic lately, right? Is it a title or an escrow brokerage state?
So the risk action here. Let's do a quick lookup of what risk actions there are. Accept, mitigate, transfer, avoid. I think those are the 4. I think it's basically 4. Avoid it, mitigate it, transfer it, like a liability insurance, or accept it. Yep. So maybe I should put a little risk action. Accept, mitigate, transfer, avoid. And you can't avoid it by just denying that it exists. That's not avoiding it. You can avoid the transaction or avoid some factor that would cause it to be an issue. There. So is this a mutual release state? The likelihood doesn't not really apply very well, but that would be a high impact thing. For you, are you going to avoid that? Or if it is in a mutual release state, what can you do to mitigate? That's basically a yes, no for this one. How can you mitigate the problem? I think Pace just covered this. You call the flipping title company and say, hey, I know that you normally require mutual release. My contract is already signed by somebody, or if they use, particularly if they used our purchase contract from creativetc.io under the resources, and they use the one that Pace publishes and that I maintain, well, guess what it has? It has, is it section 5? No. 7, instruction to release the deposit upon cancellation during the inspection period. Hey, title company. Our contract, the seller already signed mutual instructions to release funds to me. Is that going to be good enough for you? Because I ask because even though it's in the contract and it should be followed, some title companies still refuse to do that. So technically, the seller has already signed the funds back over to me if I decide to cancel within the inspection period for any reason. So given that, are we okay? Or do you have a different piece of paper you would feel more comfortable with us signing? Because the only way I'm getting into this transaction is if I know that I'm safe and that my funds will be wired back to me if we cancel during the inspection period. Is that a mitigation of risk? So even if it's a mutual release state, where do we go? Even if it's a mutual release state or not, then can we mitigate it? Yeah, we can. Is it avoided completely? No, it can still be a risk. You can still have some little crazy person upstream who is like, wait a minute, no, that's not our policy. We're not going to do that. I don't care if it's pre-signed. You can't pre-sign a release. You may get that person. You may find that person, and that is a risk that you can't always avoid. That's always a risk. And if you don't understand that, I'm happy you're here because you need to know that. Other questions? Is this a new person? Do they already have a buyer lined up? That's a huge one for Gator stuff. Is there a buyer already lined up? Let's do that. No, insert above. If they already had a buyer on deck, wouldn't they already have EMD? They might not need you at that point. If it's a gap loan, so we might start tagging these. Gator, gap loan, PML. What sorts of questions should we be asking? What risks are there? And then you individually have to escalate. And so some of these are going to be yes or no. Is it affecting things, and how big is the impact on that thing? And what are you going to do about it? How long is the inspection period? Yeah. Is there a long enough inspection period? I like that. I'm sure somebody already has a list of these questions somewhere. So we just need to combine that with this. If you just joined, you're under a sworn gentleman's agreement not to share this link. I will paste it in here, but I don't want this link getting out to the rest of Gator or Sub 2, or especially outside of Gator and Sub 2. If this winds up in the free creative finance group, somebody needs to get slapped. I will share. Please do not reshare. Enjoy and use and give me some feedback. That's what I need. I love building templates and like giving to the communities here. And that's why Pace made me one of the trainers and leaders in the community. Thoughts, questions? Bunch of introverts. They don't like using microphones.
No, it's late. A long day. Sorry. But you're very good. Thank you for your time. You're very patient.
Caleb,
Absolutely.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah, who is that?
This is Julie Daniels.
Okay.
I briefly talked to you and Josh both, and I know that this is not probably, we don't have time to get into it, but do you think you will be training on Gator TCing like going forward in the near future?
Yes. So one of
Okay.
my things, and some people haven't heard this. Today was my 1-year anniversary at Creative TC, or the company's anniversary, first birthday or whatever. Thank you. My objective at that point, and I thought I would have people trained up and have processes and all this stuff figured out 3, 4, or 5 months in. I hit the 6-month mark and I was like, I need to check and see if this is like viable long term, because it's been hard to build a team. Like, here's the thing with transaction coordination. You can be relatively profitable at lower prices as a single 1-2-man shop. Maybe you hire a VA and you can work 5 to 7 files at a time, and you don't have very much overhead. But I have a contract specialist who's on staff getting paid whether or not they're doing work. I've got a middle management person on deck, and now I'm out promoting the company, trying to bring stuff in. So you hit this plateau. You can add 2-3 people to your team, and then you hit this plateau where it's like, golly, I'm not making any money for a long time until I can get scaled up to the point where I've got enough people trained. And so that's where I've been for the last like 8 months. And I finally said that today is the day at which Caleb will no longer work files directly. And that frees me up to do other things like learn more about Gator and get into working those, particularly with Josh Deere. I'm looking at a couple of other people that are interested in helping with the lending stuff. And our job is just to be consultants and ask good questions and help you. Now, we've been through the bumps. We've seen the problems. My personal position was I've got enough to keep me busy with the real estate stuff. I didn't take on Novations for a long time, and I didn't take on Gator because I know there's going to be some people getting road rash from some of the accidents that happened early on, because it was a very young product. But now that we've seen some road rash, we've got some ideas on how to protect and defend and modify the agreements and continue to reduce things. And Pace told me he's got basically a either 3 or 4 tier plan or phase plan. And, Gator 2.0 is phase 2, and he's just started into it. It's got a lot more to go over the next year, 2 years. So it's going to be released in phases. We're going to learn the Gator JV. I'm not going to say lending. We're going to learn the Gator JV part and kind of master that, get it through it. Instead of trying to crash through everything all at once, he's taking a very metered approach. So it's Gator JV stuff, chunks at the first time for EMD. The next phase is what? Gap lending, double closes. That's where we're on right now.
Yes.
Okay. That's something I'm much more familiar with and I'm much more comfortable with. This first was like the Wild West. And so I was like, whoa, that's a lot to tackle. I don't know that I can accurately ask all the best questions yet. So phase 2, gap lending, I've got a lot more specific things that I can assist with, and I can teach on some of that stuff. So I do intend on bringing some teaching back into the Gator course, assuming he allows me, but of course he will.
Yes, I appreciate that. I'm really interested in doing TC for Gators, but I also see a lot of people answer stuff in, the Gator group that I'm like, I don't think that that's correct. And so it's kind of, but I don't know enough to speak on it, but I know enough to know that some of the stuff that people are saying or doing with it, it's risky.
Yeah, the thing I hate about it is people get into these risky situations because they don't know what questions to ask. If they ask themselves
Right.
those questions or had somebody else ask them,
Mhm.
they'd be like, oh, you know what? That doesn't feel very safe at all. I would never do that. Well, have
Right.
you considered that this could happen? No, that can happen. Yep. Ooh. So the question
Mhm.
isn't so much of a yes or no, it's a scale. What's your risk tolerance? And if your tolerance is lower than the risk that you perceive, what would make it different? What things could you change to make it to where, okay, I've either de-risked this or I've increased the reward enough to where I can make enough that it's worth the risk. Again, there's a lot of people that will just get greedy and they're like, yeah, I'll take high risk because the reward's so high. You're just gambling. Don't
Mhm.
gamble. Learn to
Yeah.
ask good questions. Team up with other people. I think that's something there's a lot of people afraid to do.
Mhm.
I want the whole chunk.
Right.
Okay, well, go risk everything. Go gamble and get your chunk or lose your chunk. Right? Are you going to be the gator or are you going to get bitten? Who knows? Squat up with other people who've been through stuff. I'm going to a tax specialist as a story here. I'm going to a tax specialist. What is her name? Carlotta Thompson, CPA, and she's a tax strategist. That's what it is. So I joined a little tax strategy mentorship. She, wow, how did I lose my train of thought that entirely? People lose deals. Anyway, senior moment. I just got an extra white hair just now. Dang, what was she saying? Total loss. It's gone. It's gone forever. I don't know.
Maybe we can all brainstorm for
We were
questions.
talking about squatting up.
Yeah.
Something to do with that.
Oh yeah. So I'm also gonna sidebar squirrel. I'm gonna go on JJ Azizian's group. If you haven't seen JJ's mastermind group, it's an open-ended I don't know, real estate and lending. I'm sure lending counts, wholesalers and all those sorts of people. There's a lot of sub-2 students in there, but that's an open networking group, and he has somebody on twice a week. I'm going to be on in June, and I'm going to cover JV versus. So, are you going to partner, or are you going to hire somebody? JV versus consultant, right? When do you hire? When do you JV? When do you outsource? And there's different stages of your business. And if you're getting into your first deals, you should be either JVing or partnering with somebody who's already been there and done that. Ebony says, being a new gator, I'm open to any training that I can learn from. I think you're going to learn a lot. Oh, the CPA thing. Aha, this is what it was. She said there's some CPA firms out there and they're bragging that they've never been audited. And she's like, that's the stupidest brag I've ever seen. The real brag, the real flex is a title company, or not a title company, but a CPA who has been through audits and survived and succeeded. That's the ones you want to go with. You want to go with somebody who's been through some storms, who's learned some lessons, who's lost some money. Guess what? I have a deal that I just lost $30,000 on.
Oh,
I
that hurts.
borrowed it to do the deal, and the deal went south when we discovered a probate issue. And now the seller refused to perform. Contractually, I win. We went to court and I won in court. But does that put money back in my pocket? No. Did I have to pay back my lender to be honorable? Yes. And guess what? I have no emergency fund anymore. That was my emergency fund and more. That hurt. And I've learned some lessons, you know? And that's the people you want to do business with, is people who've had a perfect track record, unless they can demonstrate that it's because they're extremely prudent and they've asked a ton of questions and you can tell that they've de-risked. But most times people have to take some bumps and bruises, and that's who you want to connect with. So, and I have JV partners on that deal. I'm only 25% partner, but guess who bore the entire load? Me. My partners owe me back. And will they pay me back? I do expect them to. But really, I only should carry 72, 7,500 or something like that out of that burden. But I'm the one that sourced the money from the lender. So it's my name that's on the line if that lender doesn't get paid back. So I'm going to sell stuff. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that lender paid back. That's what it is. So what were we talking, Julie? You said, oh, TC training. Yeah, I'm going to do some TC training. We'll find a way to get that. It's on my roadmap to do
Okay.
something like that for the Gator group. So I just haven't done enough Gator or lending stuff specifically, but the 2023 for me, as of today, my focus is outside of my company to bring business in and to work with people and do different sort of stuff so I can produce training.
Okay, that sounds great. Until then, I'll just keep coming in Saturday trainings and sub 2.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm good to keep chatting. What's going on in the chat? Do we need to bring something up? You guys can go to bed anytime. Oh, this is also what I do all day. At Creative TC, I have how many people? Josh, how many people do we have in the virtual office? No, I only ate 2 or 3 EL fudge cookies. How many people? We've got anywhere from like 4 to 12. 12 seems pretty high.
Yeah, I'd say 4 to 8 people on average.
Yeah, TCs. Some of them are on my team, a couple of employees, a couple contractors, and a couple of people that are my competition that are in for training, cross training, and I end up subcontracting to those who kind of prove themselves. And we just have a Zoom all day, 5 days a week. And so if you've never used a virtual office, working with your friends, even some of your competitors, it's pretty great to just have a massive Zoom and then use breakout rooms. Actually, let me just turn on some breakout rooms for the example of showing you how this works, because there's a lot of power. I just like sharing value, and I think this is something valuable to people who would use Zoom a lot. Now that we've shifted topics, I'm going to create 6 breakout rooms. Room 1 is going to be, what's your favorite food restaurant in the chat? Really, Michael? That's your favorite McDonald's? The Habit? That's a fast food restaurant? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a burger place, I think.
Sounds like a bad habit. Yeah, I'm going to put, have you guys ever heard of Smash Burger?
Yeah.
Okay, I call it Smash Wallet. I'm going to list, so just so you know, when you see it pop up, Smash Wallet means Smash Burger, because it's golly expensive to me. Chipotle. This is how I have fun in my group. Sometimes we'll name rooms. We used to do this a lot. Now we just name it conference room 1, 2, 3, and like Caleb's office, Josh's office, etc. You can't see what I'm doing right now, but you'll see in a second. I got 6 breakout rooms. All right, so watch this. Open all rooms. What I did was I enabled breakout. Now, if you go click a breakout room, you're going to disappear from here and you're going to be in a room by yourself, or you can ask other people to go with you. So if you're going to do Zoom with other people and you can get breakout rooms open, you can make several people co-hosts, and we'll have people come in, and we call this the lobby. And we have people go into little breakout rooms for consults. So if you do a consult with us, then you'll probably show up in our lobby, see 6 or 8 people in there, and we'll say, oh, hey, I'm going to send you an invite to conference room 1. You click accept, and you show up there, and then a couple of people show up, and we have our chat. It's great. Oh, should I stream a call with a guy? I got to take the call, so if you want to listen to it, I'm gonna stream it. How about that? Hey, is this Daniel?
Hey, Caleb, yeah.
Right on. Hey, man, I got you on live on a Zoom. Just so you know, don't say any cuss words.
No, not me. You know me.
I appreciate that.
Seriously, you don't have me on a Zoom, do you?
Yeah, you're on a Zoom. I got 47 people in a Zoom right now.
Awesome. How's it going?
Good. We're just talking about, we kind of got off topic. I was talking about how to use Zoom to maximize your effectiveness and stuff, but we were talking about de-risking lending transactions, doing JVs and stuff like that, which is pertinent because I was talking with you about how do we JV.
Right. That's good. Because those are some of the things I wanted to touch with you tonight. I had mentioned those deals that I had working earlier today, and one of them almost fell apart. Literally almost fell apart.
Oh.
But I got it. I worked it out, so we're good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear him okay?
Yes.
So what's going on? What are we doing? What are we talking about tonight?
Nothing. You tell me. I told you to call me back after you got some news about the deal, right?
Yeah. So I got 3 going today. I got the one in Vegas, which was the seller finance.
Yeah.
I got the one in Kansas City, which now we're kind of reworking the numbers. But we got a comp at 277.
Who got a comp?
And I'm trying to get it at 98.
Who got a comp
So
at 2 something?
yeah, 277. Actually, I got a couple of them. I think the lowest one I got was 235, and I got another one at 240 something. And then I got that other one at 277. I think the 277 is probably the best one as far as it being in it, and exact square footage and all that other good stuff.
I was gonna say you need to get slapped in the head for taking the highest comp.
No, I know. I'm desperate here. I'm desperate. Yeah, no. I what I did too is I took a couple of different angles. I even went old school and I took all 3 comps and added it to total and then divided it by 3. I mean, I was working in every way possible just to see what I had there. So the agent, the seller's agent, he wasn't very nice at our first conversation. I haven't spoken to him since. So I don't know if you remember, but he said he was trying to get one of his partners to represent me on the buyer's end.
Yeah, because he wants to get both sides of that representation.
Yeah, this guy's super cool, super awesome, super helpful. And I even talked to him about possibly if this went through, or even if it didn't, he consider maybe sending me deals before they hit the market. He's like, absolutely, let's make some money. So I'm working it, man. I'm working it.
Deals before they hit the market, huh?
Yeah, off market deals. He's like before we even put them out there. The Vegas one, that one was the seller finance, 0% down, 0 down, 0% interest, full asking with the 250.
Yeah.
And it's 60 months and a balloon payment at the end. And the agent sent me a text message around, I think I want to say it was probably around 3. I don't even know exactly what time it was. He's like, hey, my broker, he's not really too comfortable with the 0% interest. Can we talk? And I'm like, oh, here we go. And I was kind of in the middle of that other conversation with another agent. And so I finally got on the phone with him and he's like, look, I don't, we're not sure, you can't do like, 3% interest. And I said, wait a minute. First of all, I said, the agreement was, and me, Caleb, again, it's not personal. It's just business,
dude, you're a bulldog. You'll always go for that extra. Hey, give me a little more. Give me a little more discount.
All right. And he says, I go, you know what? I go, here's the thing. I said, look, you agreed that, if I gave him asking that, terms would be fair. And you took it to the seller. You came back and said he was good with it. What did I have to offer? So that was my offer. 0 down, 0 interest, 60 months, and balloon payment at the end. He's getting his full asking. Originally, he wanted $4,000 a month. I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. I can give you 15, and that's about it. So he came back with wanting some kind of interest rate on the whole transaction, on the whole thing, the whole setup. I said, wait a minute. Now I'm giving him more than his asking. When again, it's got you can't have both. It's got to be either or. And I said, and I just threw this out there. I said, we do these type of transactions all the time. I said, so I don't understand what your broker's uncomfortable with. Why don't you have the seller sign some kind of addendum or an agreement or something that covers you guys if you guys are uncomfortable with it? I said, because these deals are done all the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, I have seen them. I haven't done one myself, but I've seen them. So I do know. I said, look, people do it with cars. People do it with jewelry. It's a simple agreement. There's nothing complicated. Everybody's getting what they want. Everybody gets to eat. And that's what we're trying to do here. Okay. I said, because technically, when this deal is done, I said, that property, from what you're telling me, it might actually be a teardown. He goes, yeah, but the thing is that, you know, the lot is so huge and you got apartment buildings on both sides. He goes, you guys are going to make some really good money at the end of the day. I said, again,
If we're good at what we do.
I'm taking out more money. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was trying to justify trying to add the interest. I said, listen, I'm going to do this. I said, I don't want this deal to fall apart. And I know you don't want it to fall apart because our initial conversation, you told me that you were pretty much at your wit's end with this whole thing. I said, so again, I'm giving your full asking. I said, look, I'm willing to do this. And I did this, Caleb. I did it as a kind of like a let's see where it goes type of thing. I wasn't going to go with it or run with it.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'll give him. I said, what in your professional experience and what you think, your professional opinion? I said, tell me, what do you think would be a fair interest rate? And he says, well, you know, the going rate is about 6.5. I said, yeah, I'm not doing that. We're not doing that. I said, look, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, that's 6.5% on top of your full asking. Now I'm paying out more. So
Yeah, 285 or well, 3% would be 285.
yeah, I go, so now we're not doing that. I said, look, I'm gonna let you take a 2% interest rate option to him, and you let me know what he says, and you come back to me with this. I said, so is this a broker or is it the seller that's telling you that they're not really too sure about this whole deal? I go, you need to be transparent with me, bro. I said, because if we're gonna do business in the future, I need to know that if you're gonna come bring me something that you're not gonna be trying to, you know, blow smoke or fog up the mirrors here. I said, because we'll just not do business anymore.
Yeah.
I said, let's get a relationship established here and let's make something happen here. So he goes, let me call you back in 5 minutes. He calls me back in 5 minutes and he says, I talked to the seller. The seller says he's okay with the original offer and that he'll go ahead and go with that. I said, okay, see, I told you. I said, so just make him sign something. So if you're uncomfortable with it and your broker's uncomfortable with it, at least you guys are covering your backside because you had him sign something saying that he was okay with the 0% interest, 0% down.
You know what we can do?
What are we doing here?
What you can do is give him 3% interest, but reduce the purchase price to 219, and a balloon at 5 years on a 30-year note puts his total paid, including interest, at $250,103.
Right. I thought about that too.
Yep.
But what I was trying to do here, because I was even gonna consider even shortening the from 60 months to like maybe like knock off a year. Like my mind was already going. I was already trying to figure out what I was gonna do here. But then at the end of the day, I said, no, I'm not. Listen, this is what it is. The guy couldn't sell it. He was having a hard time. He wasn't willing to go lower than 240. I mean, I could have even came in and said 240 at those terms. But I said, you know what? Let me just. Then when we were all done, it was all said and done. I told him, look, bro. I said, I'm not trying to pull the rug over anybody or trying to burn anybody in any way. I said, you know, this is business, and when it's all said and done, it's about numbers. And if the numbers don't work, then the deal doesn't work.
Right.
And I even offered. I said, look. He says, there's one more thing, and I said, oh my God. He goes, no, this has nothing. This didn't hurt the deal at all. He goes, but he's asking for at least 30 days. I said, I have no problem with that. He goes, because he has a special needs brother, and they just want to make sure that they get a place. I said, listen, I'm even willing to help you guys find a place. I said, I have family that's out in Vegas.
Look at the difference in payment here. $250,000 at 0% interest is $694 a month, but 219
willing to help that way too.
At 3% interest,
this isn't about
it's $923 a month.
Somebody, I said, this is again.
Golly, that makes a difference in cash flow, doesn't it?
Yeah, man, I really do.
But we still come to the outcome with a balloon.
Let him know if he needs anything from me, you know, to help him out
So
with all the extra stuff.
I'm doing a pilot, training people how to use this spreadsheet.
And he's like, all right, Daniel.
Got him on mute.
Here's one thing, though, Caleb, that
He talks a lot.
Kind of brain with is that at the end of the conversation, he says, I'm going to go ahead and send over all the documents for you to sign tomorrow. He says, do you have a third-party company that we can use to handle these transactions? I said, I don't. I said, do you have one? And he says, no, but I'll talk to my title.
What do you mean to handle these transactions?
Well, they want me or whoever decides to take over the property, they want them to make payments to a third-party kind of like one of those
A loan servicer?
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that.
okay,
yeah.
that's no problem.
So this way, nobody's saying that they're not getting their money, or
Yeah.
nobody's saying that they're.
Hey, about the spreadsheet here, it's available inside Sub 2. I'm making a new version for a group that I'm putting together, and I'm training people on it. I intend to monetize. I gave it away to Sub 2, but I'm going to start selling it outside the group along with some training on how to use it.
What I'm going through, what I've been going through. So the one thing that kind of stopped me a little bit, or kind of concerns me a little bit, he says that he's going to send over a credit check.
Do you
to
need
see if I can?
Do you need me to be a credit partner?
Yeah, and I can tell you right now, my credit is worthless.
I just pulled 739. So if I'm your partner and sponsor that deal, I can JV in by sponsoring as a credit partner.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So again, when it's all said and done, if you can help me dispo this, or if you know somebody, again, it's probably going to be more of something that a developer is going to want. Because,
Man,
again,
I hate development deals. They're not my bag.
No.
I don't have a problem with other people that do them. I don't think they're stupid. It's just not my bag. It's not where I built my expertise. So
right.
You're gonna have.
I just need help dispoing it.
That's
always been my downfall.
I'll see what I can find people inside of Sub 2 as far as dispo for a development deal. I'm sure I can find somebody. There's some development people, but we'll have to figure out the JV part. I'm willing to put my credit up for the qualification there, no problem. I also have a letter of personal reference from a lender that I was just telling the group here that I lost $30,000 on a deal, and I covered it to make sure the lender didn't get we weren't late on payments.
Right. I forgot we were on it. Wait, we really are on a Zoom?
Yeah, dude. Don't be throwing out addresses. Get your deal sniped.
I'm providing some good info here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I mean, and then I don't know. You know Ryan Zolan, right? He's pretty much on. He does a lot of those videos on YouTube going over how to use Privy.
No, I don't know.
He's done deals with Brent Daniels, and you know, sometimes he's on with Jamil, things like that. Well, he just did a YouTube video, I believe it was like 2 or 3 days ago, and he was talking about the Vegas market, and he says, "You guys come across anything that's 250 and under?" He goes, "Send it to me," and he goes, "I'll buy it from you." And this deal is actually 250. That's 250.
And zero interest. Oh,
and 0% and 0 down.
Yeah, dude.
Golly.
So
it's an awesome deal, man.
You're talking 30 years though on the financing with 5-year balloon.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
The term that you're talking is 30 years with the 5-year balloon.
No, it's only 5 years. Only a 5-year.
No. Okay, well let's get real clear on that. Do you mean $250,000 financed over a 5-year term, meaning the payments are giganormous, or do you mean 250,000?
Payments are 1,500, which it comes out to about 90,000 after 5 years.
All right,
and then they want the full balance at the end.
You can't do that to me. You, how did you get to $1,500 payments?
That's what I asked for.
Okay, yeah, you got to tell me that. You can't not tell me that. Okay.
And I told him I wasn't doing that. So I gave you 15. That's all I can do. He said, "Okay, I'll take it."
Okay, so I'm using that spreadsheet that I told you I wanted you to get in on my training for.
Right.
I'll put you in that group because I kicked 2 people out, and
yeah.
I'll show you what I'm doing with the spreadsheet, because if you were doing a 30-year term, that payment would have been with 0 interest. That payment would have been like $600 and some odd, and with 3% interest, even on lowering the balance to 219, the payment went up by $300 a month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, originally that was the plan when I first got on, but you know, when you're talking to the agent, you know, you start to find out a little bit more about the seller situation. So they are an older couple, and when I did suggest the seller finance situation, he says, "Yeah," he goes, "They actually did mention anything creative if the deal can get done, but they're not willing to go and do anything past 5 years." So that was pretty much what I had to work with.
Okay.
When he came at me and said, "Well, they want at least $4,000 a month because of, you know, the things that they got to pay for it," I said, "Yeah, I can't do $4,000 a month.
Yeah,
I'll give you 15, and that's all I can do."
Okay, that's basically, so we would set an amortization schedule on that for 13 3/4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 I mean, it's the way I see it is 5 years is more than enough time for somebody to do something with that thing. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of opportunity with that. There's an apartment complex on each side of that. It's just this big old lot with this house sitting right in the middle. I mean, I believe it's 0.29 acres. 2.29, yeah, it's like 12,600 and something square feet. A lot. It's a huge lot.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. So I mean, I've already, as soon as I got off the phone with the guy the second time when I thought the deal was going to die, you know, I started thinking, okay, I can put it on Substance Facebook page, Astro, which I finally became a part of that, the Astro family, which is awesome. And then just, you know, your basics like Facebook Marketplace, and then just reach out.
Oh, that explains why you're trying to build relationships with realtors, like trying to get free market deals.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should have known.
I
should have smelled Astro.
Looking at recent sales, there was one that sold for a little over 400,000, and the lot was a lot bigger, and it was just I think the house on that lot was probably the same. It was the same setup. I think it was a 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Okay.
Well, by the way, if you're running anything like 2,000 plus square feet, preferably 2,400 range, I've got a contact. We're trying to do group homes. We can do a group home, even if there's a restrictive or stupid HOA, they can suck it. We can still do a group home. So we have several group homes that are nationwide, and they're looking for certain criteria. So if you find one that's in minimal rehab, preferably turnkey, but minimal rehab on creative terms, not cash. If we can buy it, they're in the business of leasing only. So if we bring them deals, they'll look at it and say, yeah, if you do $10,000 worth of rehab and add a wall here so that we can put bedrooms in and pipe water in over here, or add this bathroom, then we'll lease it at this much per month, and we'll sign a lease before you have to buy it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Wow.
Yep. They just do not want to own assets.
Where'd you find that?
This guy I've been working with he's helped me with the creative underwriting spreadsheet where he's going to run we're going to use ClickFunnels to market it, and he's going to run my marketing, but he's also working on getting into those sorts of deals. So he's been building those contacts. They gave him the criteria. And so he's looking Sunshine States mostly, but technically they're nationwide. So opportunities that come your way.
What's the criteria again? One more time.
Preferably 2,400 square feet and up. I mean, it's supposed to be for group home thing, right? Like sober living facilities. So you're looking to put double bunks in a room or split large bedrooms in half so that you can fit, 2 to 4 people in what would otherwise be a 1 or 2 person bedroom. So they're looking for not 3 beds, preferably 4, 5, 6 bath or bed, and enough square footage to really put people in there and have some common areas that aren't like crowded.
You got it. Okay, yeah, because I have another one that I'm
multi-stories.
in Ohio, and it's 7 3 bath.
That's exactly what we'd be looking for.
And it does need it's I wouldn't really say cosmetic. Well, it's just like drywall and stuff like that. They had a water pipe break last year, and the owner got in there. He started fixing it, and he was trying to sell it in a package deal with another property that's a 3-1. And I got a notification that there was a price drop of $45,000, and called the agent. What's going on? I said, well, we sold the smaller one, but the 6 bedroom, 3 bath is still available. I go, what does he want for it? He goes, well, make me an offer. So right now I'm kind of looking at, because I was so overwhelmed with the 3 that I had to deal with today. I didn't get a chance to call her today, so I'll call her tomorrow and see what she wants to do with that.
I can show you how to underwrite that. If you can put one together on creative terms, and the entry fee is going to be like, including rehab, is going to be less than 20%. We got people dropping like flies. I got 33 people left. But this is it's a lender Zoom. It's people who have money they want to put into deals. So whether it's short term or midterm, we've probably got somebody that I can find that can put anywhere from $30,000 to $70,000, depending upon the deal, if they're getting a good return. Which, by the way, hang on a second on the phone here. I want to make a point to the people still watching that sometimes if you're going to get into private money lending, like the midterm stuff, consider what it's worth to park your money at 12% for 6 to 12 months versus charging 14 to 16% and doing 2 or 3 short deals per year. Yeah, your interest rate's higher, but you had to do 4 times as much work, or maybe 10, because you have to validate all these deals and turn down a bunch because you're afraid to park your money for 6 to 12 months. You could make the same amount of money just by parking it at 12% as you could by doing 14, 16, 18%, 3-4 times a year, because how long of the year is your money deployed when it's parked? All year. How long is your money deployed when it's not parked? Oh, but I might miss an opportunity. Yeah, but you're making income. So you got to balance that. Anyway, back to you, Daniel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
And anyway, so entry fee, including rehab, and don't give me the top comp in the area. Be realistic, be conservative. If you can get an entry fee below 20%, we've got particularly on the larger houses, we can probably get a group home to look at that seriously.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, and again, I'll touch base with you again just to make sure if I do come across it, because today was just crazy day. It really was. This whole week's been kind of nutty, but today it's almost like everything just kind of came at me at one time. Yeah. So, and I got another one in Vegas that I'm looking at, and this lady is insisting that she gets $200,000 for it because she's trying to sell it for a friend of hers that she says that's been in and out of the hospital. So, I mean, originally I came in at 160, and I did my comps, and I think I was on a Zoom with who was that? I was on a Zoom with somebody on, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. One of the Astro students, I believe it was, and he ran the numbers, and he came back with the same thing I came back with. And
that's always good.
So I got to reach out to her tomorrow because I'm thinking it's probably going to end up being a seller finance deal, because I know she said that the lady owns it free and clear. So I mean, I'm willing to do the 200,000. Yeah, I'm willing to.
All right, what's my rule on going creative though? What things do you have to disqualify first?
Oh, what is it? It's been a while since we talked. When was the last time we talked?
Homeboy, cash realtor and keeping it. You should remember that regardless of how often we talk. If you want a creative deal, you have to rule out cash realtor and keeping it. Actually, the seller has to rule out cash realtor and keeping it. So if they have to say no to that cash offer, and why that won't work. Well, it's too low. I need this much money. Okay, fine. That's fine. So you're telling me absolutely that 160 ain't going to work. Nope, not at all. Okay. Well, why don't you put it on the MLS, or what's wrong with the realtor? And if it goes on the MLS and doesn't sell, there's your proof in the pudding. It's not going to sell for what they wanted. Too bad. MLS doesn't work. Or if they just hate agent fees or had a bad experience, whatever their reason is for the agent or realtor not working. And then the third is keep it. Why don't you just keep it? Oh, I guess I could. Why don't you be a landlord? I don't want to deal with it. Let them give you a reason. So rule out cash realtor and keeping it. And if they still want to sell, then guess who gets to choose the terms?
There you go.
You.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yep. So that call is taking place tomorrow, and I've already pretty much got myself ready to go on how I'm going to approach that whole thing. And again, you know how I.
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of success. Number one, saving time by disqualifying things, because it's not actually a creative deal. But number two, in just locking stuff in by rehashing at the beginning of the conversation. Okay, I just want to confirm you're still not okay with that cash offer, because I can probably go up to 162. I know you didn't like that, but I just want to confirm before we move on to the next thing, because they get progressively less normal. Cash offer is the easiest and fastest. So if that doesn't work for you, what was wrong with the realtor again? Because I want to make sure I'm a good solution for you.
Right.
Their commissions are going to be too high, or you might not get your price. Okay, that's fine. And then number three, are you sure you don't want to keep it? Why do you need to sell this? Tell me why you need to sell it. Why do I need to be your buyer? That sets the stage for that creative offer, homie.
Yep. I got it. Yep. I'm all over it. I'm on it. It's like I said, I've already talked to them twice already. I figured tomorrow's number 3 and third time to be a charm, and I'm almost positive I'll get that one locked down. I gotta see where they're at. That's all. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. That one and the one in Cleveland, Ohio that I just mentioned, that was a 6-bedroom, 3-bath.
So in Ohio, that's probably worth like what, $7,000?
Yeah, that's ARV right there. That's it.
$7,000 ARV in Ohio.
Hey, you know what? And again, remember how I mentioned earlier how the markets that I picked originally and I stuck with it.
Yeah.
Even though it's been more than a year now since we last really talked, is that I was trying to leverage Beasley. So it was kind of, again, because my heart, the one thing that I kept running into was disposition and getting rid of them. And I figured, if I can leverage Beasley.
Well, hey, here's a reality check.
Yeah.
Maybe dispositions was a problem because you're locking them up too high. If you have,
about that.
if you have a deal, it will sell.
Right. Yeah, I thought about that. Yeah, you make a good point. You make a good point.
That's what they pay me for.
Hey, you know what? And again, I've been trying to do this for a long time now, and I'm still learning. And I was just telling my girlfriend earlier that there's this one deal that, and I don't know if you remember me mentioning this to you, but one of the earlier deals that I had locked in, I mean, everything was pretty much ready to go, and it was about a $14,000 payment fee I was going to make, and that thing just fell apart like in an instant. That thing haunts me till this day.
Why did it fall apart?
It's just crazy. What was that?
Why did it fall apart?
The lady that was going to sell it, her oldest daughter decided she wanted to give her opinion as far as like what she thought could happen and so on and so forth. And when it was all said and done, the seller said that he was just going to go with whatever the daughter said, and that was pretty much it. It was done.
And the daughter said, "We choose to violate the contract."
Yeah, and that's what it was. And back then the contracts weren't as good and as airtight as they are now.
Yeah.
It was like I was like kind of like, well, and again, I was still new to it, so I was like, okay.
I've saved people from sellers.
She doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, there's two parts of that. One is it legal, and can we hold them to it? The other side is like, have a heart. Is this lady really not doing? Is this really not what's best for the lady?
Right.
Now, if she's still going to sell and somebody else just came in $7 cheaper, then no. But
right.
If she's like, no, I actually don't want to sell it anymore because of a real reason, which is almost always a lie, by the way, then, have a heart.
Right.
But that's when you could, okay. So here's what you do in that situation. You convert to an exclusive option, and you have the exclusive option for 3 or 5 years. If you're going to allow them to cancel, you've spent time and money on this to get this far, then, okay, I will allow you to cancel our contract in favor of an exclusive option so that if you want to sell, it's to me for the next 5 years.
Right. That would have worked, I think. Because I think eventually she was going to end up selling. I think the lady just wanted to downsize. She really didn't like being in that big house by herself.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of how and that deal, if I remember correctly, that was actually referred to me. I didn't go looking for that one. He actually reached out and called me.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of came across that one. But like I said, till this day, that one's still kind of it doesn't fit too well.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Like there were better ways to handle it, but with like me, I lost 30,000 on this one to $31,274 and some change, and I'm like, that hurts until I get paid back. I want a judgment in court, right? So maybe I'll get paid back someday with 8% interest. So it's like an investment, really. If I want to take the bright side, 5 or 10 years from now, when he sells his house, I should get paid.
Right. Yeah. When it's all said and done, I'm just trying to do things as great as I possibly can, and I'm just trying to be as I just want to do everything right. I don't want to take any shortcuts. I don't want to, I want to be as transparent as possible. I mean, I can be aggressive and I can be straight to the point and all that other good stuff. But when it's all said and done, it's nothing personal. It's just all business. Numbers work, they work. If they don't, then they don't.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Okay. Well, just remember, I'm connected with lenders. And if you have a deal with that we can put together with midterm money, we can find a way to make it work. I'll show you the cash flow analysis in the spreadsheet when we get into that, and you'll be able to qualify deals a lot better, I think.
Got it. Awesome.
Okay. Thanks for your time, man. I'll connect with you later.
All right. Yeah, guys have a good one.
You too. See ya.
All right. Take care.
So that was a wholesaler contact I've had for about a year. He's gone dark for a while. I also told him I was focusing on transaction coordination. So I really wasn't looking to do many JVs, but I like that guy. He speaks well on the phone. He's easygoing. Yeah, some people self-sabotage because of mindset. They don't think they deserve the deal. That's huge. They don't deserve to make $4,000. That's not a lot. They don't deserve to make $15,000, $20,000 as an assignment fee for all the hard work they put in and all the knowledge they've worked to gain. You do. Go earn it. Anyway, I think I'm ready to sign off. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see if I can get this put in the Gator Vault. Love and peace to all of you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Caleb.
Yeah.